Red Zone Sports Ante. Wham, bam, thank you, Uncle Sam.
Hi there and welcome to week 11 of Upping The Ante in association with RedZone.bet. Once again, you're joined by myself, David Jennings and Gavin Lynch to talk about all things Cheltenham. Gavin, are we in trouble with Cheltenham? Equine-influenza, it's making headlines everywhere. Are we in trouble? If we are, Gavin, the last 11 weeks have been a complete waste of time.
No, we'll be fine, Dave. We'll be fine. You have to stay optimistic. There's only 10 samples out of, 2,000, so I think they're deciding tonight whether to race on Wednesday, so that's a positive sign. So hopefully they get going again by the weekend.
And Gavin, we've got ravenous punters watching Upping The Ante this week. Ravenous. They want to have a bet. They want to bet on anything, but there's been nothing to bet on in Britain since last Wednesday.
Yeah, well, you know when you have a gambling problem, there's a friend of mine, Ben, and he heard that there was a horse the other day. A horse's nose was running in Doncaster and he had 20 quid in it, so you'll always get a bet.
Horse nose running. Get it? That's not bad, Gavin.
No,
for you now, that's bad. I've heard their other jokes.
Yeah.
That's towards the top of the list. Now, obviously, we're here to talk about Cheltenham.
Yes.
But because we haven't had that much action in the last 7 days, what we're going to do is, and this is probably the best segment we've ever had in Upping The Ante, we are going to talk about Mr. Gavin Lynch's 5 biggest wins in Cheltenham Festival history. So, one of the most shrewdest judges in Ireland or England who thinks about Cheltenham 52 weeks of the year. Yeah. He is going to reveal his top 5 Cheltenham wins. So Gavin, starting off with number 5.
Well, probably the most important was I was back in college in '93, woke up Friday morning, broke, lost the first few days, a broke student. I had back Shawia for the Triumph Hurdle. I ended up buying a docket off my cousin. He had it backed and I gave him more than what he paid for it. So I think I won like $1,000 or $1,500 when Shawia, Charlie Swan won the Triumph Hurdle. When you were in college? Yeah, and I swear to God it was like $1 million.
Was it?
Yeah.
Did you want to celebrate?
Can't remember, but no, it was great. So that was a huge.
And did Shawia win easy?
No, it was only I think around a half a length. Charlie Swan, who I don't know if people remember him, but he was an amazing jockey.
You don't know if people remember Charlie Swan? Of course they remember Charlie Swan.
You would, but some of the younger ones might. But just at Cheltenham, Charlie was unbeatable.
Charlie, if you're watching, you're not that old. Okay, number 4, Gavin.
I'll go back in focus in 2013.
Remember that? He looked beaten.
He looked, I'd say he traded 50s on the run-in. But I just, a month beforehand, I remember that I checked that Willie had won the 4-miler rather twice in the 80s, trained by his dad Paddy. And this horse was favourite for the RSA, and I just thought that they'd switch it to try and get Patrick a winner in this race. And I think it was 8-1 a month beforehand. It was 9-4 or something for the RSA. So I backed back and focus to win the 4-miler. Okay,
so you won just over $1,000 or 1,500 on Shawia back when you were only a Gosson.
A Gosson, yeah.
What was the figures for back and focus?
Can't remember. Don't know.
Roughly?
Don't know, maybe 10 or something.
10,000 on back and focus, winning the National Hunt Chase in 2013. Number 3.
Probably the best year was Limity and Ivanovic Gorbatov. The two of them were a lot of bets there back in 2016. If Min had won, it would have been a retirement job. But
you wouldn't be here now.
No. Limity and Ivanovic Gorbatov. That was a great year because I had the two of them in a number of bets.
Okay.
No, it doesn't matter. Go on.
Viewers are wondering, Gavin, come on. Okay, well, you can say over or under. Over or under 25,000.
A little bit over. Now, next.
Number 2.
Number 2 will go for Quevega. I remember being at a Cheltenham preview night in the Woodlands Hotel in Waterford, which is a great night every year. And I remember the last thing that Noel Cummins was there on the panel, and he said that...
Gentleman.
Yeah, lovely man. And his nap at the meeting, he said, just going back Quevega, which we weren't really Quevega.
Had you ever heard of her?
No, I think she'd won a maiden hurdle previous to that or whatever. But she was going in the mare's hurdle, and he said back her. And I remember going outside the hotel on the phone. There was no internet on your phone that day. That time it was 2009, so I remember ringing bookmakers at midnight back in the horse at 6-1.
In 2009? Yeah. It wasn't 1969.
Well, I didn't have a smartphone anyway.
So Quevega winning the mare's hurdle, you backed her at 6-1?
Yeah.
And she went off?
I think she went off 2-1, but that was the first year she won.
She bolted up?
Yeah.
Okay, so we go over under 15,000?
No, less.
Okay, but it was just the price.
It was just, I remember coming out of the Woodlands Hotel back at midnight.
Okay, yeah. There was a memory to remember?
Yeah.
A memory to remember. I got my words jumbled up there. Okay, and Gavin, what everybody wants to know is your favourite, your most profitable ever Cheltenham moment, and it came in 2004.
Yeah, my brother and 2 pals, the late John Fallon and his son Tom, they owned Rule Supreme. My late father had picked them up in the sales, and
we have Gavin here. Yeah. If you can just see this orange tricolour, this orange part of the tricolour. You can see my ear. You can see Gavin's front set of teeth and his bottom teeth. You can't see his eyes, but there is Mr. Gavin Lynch. There's your brother John.
Yeah. There's the late John Fallon. He
A
was
few
one of the
familiar
owners.
faces. We've got Patrick Mullins in a
Yeah.
nice Aaron jumper.
Yeah.
Obviously leading the horse in as well. And Norman Williamson there in the background.
Davy Condon there, yeah.
What a moment. Gavin,
Yeah,
tell us
so-
about Rule Supreme.
Actually, it was a fantastic horse to have, and I remember he was running in the Cheltenham on the 26th of December. So on Christmas Day, there was a new thing out then called Betfair, and I had an account and
Never
I looked
heard
in. Yeah, never did much after. And I first bet was a tenner at 120 to win the RSA, because if he ran well in the Cheltenham, do you know what I mean? So,
Okay.
but
So keep going. Tell us more.
yeah, should we just backed it, because you know when you're involved, it makes a difference. And I remember we were flying over that day on the plane, myself and Anne-Marie, and she said to me, "Will he definitely
Anne-Marie
win?"
is Gavin's wife, by the way.
So she said, "Will he definitely win?" And I said, "Like, he's a terrible jumper. He's 25 to 1. He'd be very lucky to finish." And she said, "Well, she told everybody in Mayo to back it." So
The whole of Mayo were on Rule Supreme.
but some of them anyway, yeah.
And tell me, I'm going to go over here because this is very important. How much was it worth to you? 70 grand.
No, it wasn't. Don't mind them.
70
But
grand.
anyway, it's not all about money, but it was very emotional to.
Okay, so
there.
Gavin's number one Cheltenham Festival moment. It was Rules Supreme winning the
Yeah.
RSA in 2004. Now, Gavin has been a busy boy. There's been very little racing,
Yes.
and Gavin has been a busy boy. He's been going through all sorts of stats for the Cheltenham Festival, and he's gone through each and every race at the last 6 Cheltenham Festivals.
Yeah.
How are you married? Do you
don't
talk
know.
to your wife?
Just
Do you play with your kids? Do you mind your dog? Do you just literally do all things Cheltenham?
and I play golf with you once a week.
You do indeed. Okay, so he's went through all the stats for the last 6 Cheltenham Festivals, and he's come up with the 5 best stats for Upping The Ante viewers.
Yeah, now these are just for the non-handicaps. Next
Okay.
week I've got some really good stats. I'm halfway through it for the handicaps.
Okay, so it's a series. We have a 2-part
Yes,
series. So
yeah.
this week it's going to be the non-handicaps, the grade 1s and the grade 2s, and next week it's going to be
Handicaps, yeah.
the handicaps. So
In
you're going to have to
particular,
stay tuned.
I'd say there'll be interesting information about novices next week in the handicaps. So.
Okay, very good. So if
Um,
you like this, remember to tune in again next week. Okay,
So
Gavin,
first
kick us
one.
off.
Number 1, there's 8 races I want to mention, right? The Supreme, the Arkle, the Champion Hurdle, the Champion Chase, the Triumph Hurdle, the JLT, the Ryanair and the Ballymore. You know those 8 big races, right? Is that in the last 6 years, 4 out of the 6 winners in every race traded 5 to 1 or less in those 8 races.
Wow.
So I'm just saying, if you study your form and you have an opinion, if you stay near the head of the market in those 8 races, you'll definitely make money.
Okay, so don't look beyond the obvious.
I wouldn't. I'd stay to the top of the market in those races, yeah.
Okay, number 4.
And number 4 is that the lowest average price winner in I'm saying 29 races, because halfway through the cross country went from a handicap to a non-handicap.
Okay.
So just allow for that. So it's 29 races. But the top 16 are non-handicaps. But there's 2 races that punters should avoid that are not handicaps. Is the Champion Bumper is number 23 of 29 on the list. It has an average price winner of 14 to 1 the last 6 years. So that's a tricky race. And also the Albert Bartlett is number 27 on the list out of 29. Wow. So it's way below a lot of the handicaps even. And the average price winner of the last 6 years in the Bartlett is 18 to 1. So stay away from the Bumper and stay away from the
Have
Bartlett.
you ever backed the winner of the Albert Bartlett? I don't think I
I
have.
don't think so.
No,
No.
it's a very, very tricky race.
Yeah.
1 to avoid at all costs, and I think it's nearly 10 to 1. I think with Red Zone that bet, it's 17 to 2 the field in the Albert Bartlett at the moment.
I think it a ball of money one year in Boston Bob, was it?
Yeah, fell.
He got
David
beat.
Casey fell down the back, yeah, didn't he?
No, that's the horse with one eye. Briar Hill, you're thinking
Oh,
of.
Briar Hill I'm thinking of, yeah, sorry. Boston Bob was beaten by the
Oh.
ill-fated Grand National winning trainer.
Go on.
Per Jockey's not with us anymore.
Oh dear.
Um,
Can't remember.
Scottish horse, it'll come to me later in the
Okay.
show. I'll think of it.
So
okay.
point number 3.
Number 3.
In the 4 miler, it's quite an obvious one that 5 out of the last 6 years, a really top jockey. Now, it's an obvious stat because they get on the favourites anyway. But Lisa, Patrick twice, Derek once, and Jamie once. So stay to a good jockey in the 4 miler, which is quite obvious.
Lucinda Russell was the trainer. I'm getting there. Okay. Number 2.
Number 2, in the Mayor's Hurdles, there has been 11 Mayor's Hurdles and there's been 3 Mayor's Novice Hurdles. So that's 14. Willie Mullins, out of the 14 races, has won 12 of them.
Wow.
So he's won 9 Mayor's Hurdles and all 3 Mayor's Novice Hurdles. I was jokingly going to say that if it's a favourite in the Mayor's Novice Hurdle beginning with the letter L, it'll win. But that's not much good to you. After Lorena, Let's Dance and Limini.
Yeah.
And the last one here is, the 5th one is, don't go above the age of 6 for novice hurdles at the shorter trips. It's interesting, right?
Say that again?
So in the Supreme, all the last 6 winners for the Supreme and the Ballymore are 5 or 6.
Yes.
Okay, years old. In the Bartlett, it actually doesn't matter what age you are. 5, 6, 7 or 8, doesn't matter. Similarly, over fences with the Arkle and the JLT, they're always 6 or 7. At the RSA, they're always 6 or 7. The last one to be an 8-year-old was Might Bite, who's a bit of a freak. So on those, stick to the 6, to the 7 and under. But in the 4 miler, it actually doesn't matter what age you are, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Okay.
So in the Bartlett, which is an extreme distance, and again the 4 miler, but in the shorter ones, it does make a big difference.
Okay. So there's ages to be, when you're going through each and every one of the races, just keep an eye on the ages, because it is very important. And those stats, you've gone through them. They do
bear
ring
out,
true. Yeah, they certainly
yeah.
do. Okay, so there is Gavin's top 5 stats. Don't forget to stay tuned next week, where Gavin is going to go through his top 5 stats in the handicaps, and you've got some real pearls in there.
Yeah, there is.
Okay, so don't miss it. So Gavin, the last 7 days, we haven't seen much in England, but there has been some interesting stuff in Ireland.
Yeah, there's a few bits
kept
just
the show on the road.
Just to mention a few, like say on Thursday and Thurles, you had Expatriate, who might end up in the Close Brothers. He's 20-1 for that.
I thought of it. Brindisi Breeze.
Well done.
Brindisi Breeze.
That's impressive.
Okay, thanks. Continue.
Sampo won the bumper on Thursday by 15 lengths. May or may not go to Cheltenham.
Very
for the
impressive,
bumper.
though.
Yeah, travelled really well into the straight. Probably not a great race. Saturday in Naas, then we're on to City Island, who was 5s on. Jumped really well. Slight worries that he got maybe a niggle for 1 or 2 strides turning in, but he ended up winning very, very easy.
Well,
So
I spoke to Mark Walsh and Martin Brazel. I was on duty at Naas at the weekend, and I just thought both of them seem to think the horse doesn't have that many gears, that it just can sustain the same pace. So if they go quicker pace into Ballymore, could be suited them, which they will. He's a definite player.
Oh, he definitely is. Yeah, it's a very open race, and obviously his owner would love to win his own race.
Absolutely.
Sean Mulrine.
Just mightn't have the class of a champ, perhaps.
Yeah, I
That's
could
the
see
worry.
him maybe getting out pace and staying on, but he's a great chance.
Yeah.
Prava Laguna was very impressive in the Grade 3 mares novice chase. She's 40-1 for the Arkle and 41 for the JLT, so that probably says enough. Band of Outlaws was wicked impressive in winning the 4-year-old novice hurdle.
And you don't use the word wicked that often.
It was.
Yeah, very impressive.
For a horse that it won twice over 7 on the flat and once over 8. So it's not always that a miler would stay 2 miles in the flat or over hurdle. So it jumped great.
Beautiful jumper.
Yeah, and it's certainly quickened up very well. I wouldn't give up all hope on Canito, the favourite in that race, maybe for Fred Winter. It'll be interesting to see what ratings they get.
Okay, so the most impressive performance of the last 7 days goes to Band of Outlaws?
Yes.
Okay.
And then yesterday in Punchestown, we Josie's Orders who won, so he'll go for the cross country. He's 7-1 for that. Sonoria, I think, is a very, very good horse.
And Gavin, you must have been tearing your hair out, considering you fancied her to win off a mark of 128 in the Mayor's Handicap hurdle at the Dublin Racing Fest.
Yeah, a good few quid in her in Leopardstown, and then she was an on-runner, so that was a pity. She definitely would have won that. Because I think that Chosen Mate is highly regarded, Gordon Elliott's.
And they pulled nicely clear as well.
They were 10 lengths clear of the rest. So I think that between Sonoria and Honeysuckle, they certainly have 2 live candidates for that race, the Mayor's Novice. And then Riders on the Storm was impressive in winning its beginner's chase. Might go to the Close Brothers. Who sang that song?
Which one?
Riders on the Storm.
The Doors.
Well done. So that's the week.
Yeah, there's the week that was. Hopefully this time next week we'll be talking about all the action in across the water.
Please God.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Equine Flu, thou shall not enter. Okay, we've got some questions from the crowd now, and Jay McElhenney says, Gavin, do you think Bouvardere has been overlooked this year with all the hype around Lorena and Apples Jade? Are we forgetting about the reigning champion in the champion hurdle?
There's 2 ways to look at it. Like, he's still only 2.94 in the exchanges to win, so nobody's forgotten. He's a short enough price favourite. He's trying to win 3 in a row. But I suppose if you go back through what he's beaten, there's obviously doubts that people have over the form. Beaten My Tenter Yours 2 years ago, beaten Mellon last year a neck, got beat at Christmas by the mare Verdana Blue. So it's hard to know.
And at the moment, if you were to rank the top 3 in the market, if they all show up on the day, just say if none of them run between now and then, Apples, Jade, Lorena, Bouvardere, give me your 1, 2, 3.
Apples, Jade, Bouvardere, and then Lorena. But it's going to be a great race, like the Gold Cup. The 2 of them, I think, are going to be a great race this year.
Okay, Bernard McKee at Bernard_Barney on Twitter says, Gavin, you are class. You have a big fan here. I have a lot of good anti-post bets, doing them since the Punchestown Festival. Fakir Dudare for the Supreme, Benny Dedu for the Mayor's Hurdle, and Defi Desai for the JLT. Also the same 2 with Sir Eric. So what do you think? Okay, so we'll mark them out of 10, Gavin, okay? Fakir Dudare is for the Supreme?
I should say 6, is it?
6, okay. Benny Dedu for the Mayor's Hurdle?
8.
I thought you'd go higher. Defi Desai for the JLT?
8.
And Sir Eric for the Triumph?
10.
10?
Yeah.
Oh, a 10. It's a 10 from Gavin.
Yeah.
Okay, question 3 from Ronan Lee. Does Mark Walsh keep the ride on Larichburg and Sir Eric at Cheltenham?
I think he'll ride Sir Eric. I don't think he'll be on Larichburg. I had a look earlier. Barry has ridden Larichburg 8 times. Mark Walsh has ridden it 4 times. Barry Garrity has won 4 Arkles. I'm going to be unfair to you here. I'm going to ask you to try and name the 4 winners. But
Barry
4,
Garrity?
Yeah.
Okay, I think I
4
can do this.
famous horses now.
I think I can do this.
Go on, go on.
Okay, Barry Garrity has won the Arkle 4 times. Sprinter Sacra.
Yes.
Finian's Rainbow didn't win
No.
the Arkle. No, Finian's Rainbow didn't win it. Give me a second. Yeah, give me the trainers.
Jessica.
Moscow Flyer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you call them?
Oh, I know it, for Paddy the Plaster.
Yeah, well done.
And one more.
And the grey.
And the grey is Simon Sig.
Well done.
Yeah, I should have got that without clues. But anyway.
So Barry has won the Arkle 4 times, so I think he'll ride Larichburg. Mark Walsh, you know, he's 32. I mean, they're not going to keep him in the wings any longer. He did ride Yanworth, who was 2-1 favourite 2 years ago in the Champion Hurdle, so the lads don't have any problem with Mark. Sure, he's riding fantastic, isn't he?
Yeah, no, he's a terrific jockey.
Yeah,
but you think Mark will keep the riding Sir Eric?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why not?
And
He's ridden it twice.
And he's a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Okay, now there are the questions from the crowd for us, but Kane Calvin from our sponsors, redzone.bet, we've got a couple of questions for you, Kane, and the first one is, with no racing in Britain since last Wednesday, surely there has been an increase in interest in the Cheltenham Festival markets. So what we want to know is, who has been the best backed horse with Redzone for the festival since Thursday morning, and what was the biggest bet you've taken on that horse?
So Six Nations Rugby, a full set of domestic football fixtures and the test match in St Lucia. Punters have had no problem keeping themselves busy away from racing. We have now, however, laid Appleshade for the Champion Hurdle. Now that seems the most likely target. And also, following on his victory at Punchestown yesterday, Josie's Orders has been popular for the cross country. But I mean, as far as big bets go, nothing bigger than you'd expect on a normal racing weekend.
Okay, so obviously Gavin Lynch hasn't had one of his major bets with Redzone so far, Gavin, but there's still time.
There is.
There's still time. And question number 2 for you, Kane, is when will Redzone be going non-runner, no bet for the Chatlin Festival? And when you do, what horse are you most scared of?
We have now gone non-runner, no bet on the 4 champion races. We are waiting to see how the equine flu situation plays out, but we're working through all the races so we can go non-runner, no bet shortly after we get more clarity on that situation. It's generally the horses with uncertain targets and multiple entries that worry us. Lorena is a real problem horse for us, and we're particularly concerned about novices and handicappers from the big stables, really.
Well, Gavin, I've got one for a handicap later in the show.
Okay.
Yeah, later in the show. I certainly have. And obviously Lorena. Right now, do you think she'll go for the Champion Hurdle or the Mares
I'd
race?
say she'll go champion, yeah.
Really, yeah.
Yeah. Willie likes to have a contender in the big race.
He certainly does. So now it's time for the most important part of the show. It is our anti-post selections for the 2019 Cheltenham Festival. This is week 11. We're building up a big stock of anti-post selections. And
Yes.
Gavin, we've got 2, we 3 last week. We have 2 this
yeah.
week.
So
You're getting a good portfolio
but as we
going.
said, like last week, 24 of the 28 winners had ran by now their last race. So
now
it's
we
time to get
know.
on with it. Don't be
Yeah.
faffing.
Don't be faffing, no. Okay, so you've got 2 this week. They're both
Yes.
trained in Ireland. We're going to kick off with the RSA Chase.
Yes.
What are you going to tip, Gavin?
Happy head new. I just want to get Delta Work on the team. This is like picking your Ryder Cup team. I just want to make sure that when Delta Work wins the RSA that I don't regret
Gavin,
not picking it.
Did somebody on this show already tip Delta Work?
Yeah, I don't know who it was. What price did they tip it up?
Well,
at?
there's 2 of us on the show.
It wasn't me.
One of them is you, and it wasn't you, so that narrows it down a little bit. Who do you think
Was
it was?
it you, was it?
It was a 12-1 for the RSA Chase, and now Gavin, the Cheltenham expert, is tipping it at 4-1.
Yeah.
Where have you been for the last 3 months?
I just didn't want to tip it too close to when you did. I thought when they went to the Drinmore that Larichburg would beat it, because I thought 2.5 was too short for it. And even though it made a mistake in the last and lost its irons, it still had the gears to beat
snug enough,
Larichburg.
yeah.
And make no mistake, Larichburg did stay that day.
Yeah.
Because it had won over 2.5 previous. But Delta
Jumped
Work,
brilliantly that day, Delta Work.
yeah, no, it jumps really well. So it won the Pertemps, loves Cheltenham, it handles softer ground. It was only beaten a neck in the Grade 1 in Punchestown. Then 3 times over fence, it won it down Royal, it won the Drinmore, as we said, against Larichburg. That's a fantastic performance to beat that horse, as we've seen since. And then it won well at Christmas. Like, I just can't believe this horse is in favour of the RSA. They've got Santini favoured. Now imagine Santini,
this is
right?
the biggest head scratcher of all. Why is Santini favoured for the RSA?
I don't know, I think it's just a popular horse. It was favoured last year, one of the favourites for the Bartlett. Just stayed on, then it won it at Aintree. It won well first time out this season. And then in Kempton, at the Bend, it looked as slow as I am.
Yeah, and you're slow.
I am.
Yeah.
But
11-4 Santini, 4-1 Delta Work, 11-2 top of the game, who to me is the big danger.
Yeah, same here.
10-1 OK Corral, who looks like going for national hunt race. Labaga won't be running at Cheltenham.
16's bar.
16 bar. You're about to make a big point here.
No, I was just going to say, like, imagine Santini running against Larichburg over 2.5. Like, it wouldn't be to getting 2 stoned, you know. So
really,
I just think Delta Work has way too many gears for Santini. But top of the game will come there tanking, turning in. Yeah.
I think it's a 2-horse race. I think we're both in agreement that it's a 2-horse race
between
Delta Work and top of the game. And this is, I think I've seen you now so far this series, Gavin. You've got OK Corral in the bag. You just want to get a few kind of
just a few
good
bankers,
things in, a few bankers, just in case things go wrong.
Exactly.
That you can say, well, at least
I gave a couple of winners.
You've got Sir Eric in there. Yeah. You've got OK Corral, and today it is.
Just before it's Benny the Jew, right, for the Mayor's Hurdle.
Okay.
But I was very close to tipping Ellie May for the Mayor's Hurdle. The horse that ran at Christmas.
Okay.
It hadn't ran for over a year. JP owns it, Willie trains it. The only thing that was turning me off was getting £10 at Christmas behind Good Time Tara. It was only beaten a half a length, I think. So at Christmas, Leopardstown, it doesn't get that £10 because it's turn 5. So I was very close to tipping Ellie May, but I've gone for Benny the Jew. 2-1.
Now people will be watching their screens at the moment and they'll be going, Lord, holy God, Gavin.
Sure, my granny could have picked that.
Yeah, 15-8. It's going to be enhanced to 2-1 for Upping The Ante viewers, and they'll be saying to themselves, I could be on Upping The Ante. I could be the star of the show because I could tip Benny's to do. But you make your case on why you're tipping Benny's to do and why you're tipping her now.
I just think it had 9 runs in France, 3 wins. Since it came to Willie Mullins, the record is 5 out of 5. As I said earlier, there's been 14 Mayor's Hurdles ran novice and senior. In Cheltenham, Willie has won 12 of them. The man, like his dad, the late Paddy, is a genius with mares. She won. Do you remember her winner beginner's chase in Limerick first time out?
Oh wow, at Christmas,
She won by 20 or 30 lengths. It won 2 more chases. Went to Cheltenham last year. Obviously, Apple's Jade was completely off form, and it only beat Midnight 2.5 a length, which is okay form, but it's not magic. But to have come back from fences to win a mare's hurdle is hard to do, and then it looked a lot better in Punchtown in the Grade 1. So I think this season, having not run over fences, it'll go straight to Cheltenham. I think it's got a massive chance because those two will go in the champion hurdle. She's better than Limley, she's better than Stormy Ireland.
And you're not petrified that we haven't seen her?
I wish Willie has done it so many times with Quevega. So I wouldn't worry about that. She does the same with, what do you call the horse on the stairs hurdle? I just forgot.
Hen Hill.
Hen Hill, sorry. But I think Ellie May is a dark one in that at 20-1.
Okay.
It's just the £10 thing at Christmas is a bit of a put off.
Okay, so you've given Sir Eric a 10 out of 10 as regards his chance for the Triumph Hurdle. What would you be giving Benny's to do?
8 out of 10.
Okay. Benny's to do, Gavin's latest selection for Upping The Ante viewers in the OLBG Mayor's Hurdle. And Gavin, you go for you're hitting the little singles out to the side. Yeah. You're getting your runs up and back, and I'm going for 6s all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm trying to hit one out of the ballpark this week again, and I am going with first assignment in the Pertemps final. Now, you might say it's 4 weeks to Cheltenham tomorrow. You might say it's a bit stupid picking out a horse for the Pertemps final. We haven't seen the weights. We haven't seen what the Irish horse are getting. But I think this horse will go off favourite.
Okay.
It's 20-1. It's been enhanced to 25-1 for Upping The Ante viewers. And I think this horse will go off favourite. Just a brief summary. It's 2 from 2 at Cheltenham.
Okay.
It won over 2 mile 5 at Cheltenham in October off a mark of 125. It followed up at the open meeting, or the November meeting as they now call it, by 9 lengths from Boyhood off a mark of 130, okay? Then it ran 7 days later, and the trainer was anxious to state that basically he's really worried that this horse probably needs a bit of time between its races, but it was so well in that it had to run the following week in the race at Haydock. It finished third to a horse called Paisley Park. Have you ever heard of him?
Paisley Park, no.
Paisley Park ran in that, what used to be called the fixed brush hurdle at Haydock, ran in that race off a mark of 147, just about won, got up on the line.
Okay.
It's now rated 168, so it's £19 higher now. Shades of Midnight, who was just second, there was 3 of them basically in a line with about 50 yards to go. Shades of Midnight won a novice chase next time by 10 lengths. And first assignment travelled like the winner for most of that way, I thought. Then he ran the Pertemps qualifier earlier on this season, earlier on in 2019, in January, in Warwick. It was third to Keeper Hill. I thought that was a real kind of eye-opener.
It had to be in the first 5 or 6.
Had to finish in the first couple, finished third. Thought it was a lovely run. It's now rated 142, okay? So I think there's plenty of scope for improvement off that mark. If you remember,
doesn't it?
Yeah, if you remember, 142 will definitely get you in. If you remember, it won off 130 in November. It bolted up by 9 lengths. It could have won by 19 lengths. It's only £12 higher now.
Okay.
I think this horse has plenty to offer. Remember the name, first assignment, Gavin.
Okay.
So there you go, folks. That is week 11 of Upping The Ante in association with RedZone.bet. Hopefully next week, Gavin, we'll be back English racing. We'll be looking forward to Chatlin. We'll have smiles on our face and everything will be good in the world.
He's got it. 4 weeks tomorrow.
4 weeks tomorrow. Yeah. You've been watching Upping The Ante. I've been David Jennings. He's been Gavin Lynch. Join us next week.
RedZone Sports.bet. Wham, bam. Thank you, Uncle Sam.